and be able to help Captain out.
Well, let's see if they do draft those strong champions as we head into Champions League for game number 2 of this best of 3 series between Saint and Snake. As the bans have already gone underway. Echo and Vladimir have been taken away by Saint. They do not want Flandre to get his hands on that champion one more time. Rise is going to be the ban coming out from Snake here against Saint. Still waiting for the next few bans to come out from the lineup. Swain is going to be the next ban coming out from the Snake lineup.
Yeah, nothing really new that we haven't talked about here.
Yep.
Interested to see a blue side Vladimir ban.
Very standard bans coming out here so far. Seems like Snake just don't want to play against this Vladimir anytime soon. In fact, it was Snake that banned it out last game here against the Saint lineup. So, scared to pick that one up. Kindred is going to be the ban coming away from Saint. He was neither picked nor banned in the previous matchup.
That's interesting. Maybe they're fishing for an Italy pick. They're not going to get it. So we'll see if they take Graves again as the last real power jungler left, or whether they want to take a tank jungler into SOFM, see if that slows him down.
And that was in Italy being the final ban coming out from the Snake lineup. So, waiting to see what Saint decide to pick as their first pick during that rotation. Like you mentioned, still see the Graves available. Rek'Sai still up and available as well. Still see the likes or someone like Lucian, who's on your screens now, up and available. You could possibly see STYZ pick that down to the bottom lane. Caitlyn was banned out last game by a Snake, so Saint have that opportunity to give STYZ his signature champion if they choose to as well.
And I do like the Lucian pickup because it is one of those champions that just, like, it wins you a lane. Like, Lucian, anything pretty much that is ranged will win a lane. Bard, Karma, throw your pick of support down there. So, this is what we said from Saint. You need a stronger early game and you need to be able to bully. And, if SOFM comes into your jungle, your whole team needs to be able to kick him out.
We're going to start that one off with a very powerful lane bully on the likes of Lucian being picked up for the Saint lineup. Snake now have their picks of their next 2 pickups during their first pick rotation. It seems like they're going to be content with picking up the Azir and Rek'Sai one more time up against Saints.
Yeah, it seems that they really like this ganking duo. So, it worked very well game number 1.
Certainly did.
Can't see any reason to change it for game number 2.
Captain and Snoopy now have the chance to pick up their next 2 picks for the Saint roster. Last time around, we saw them go for the Lucian and Echo as their second pick. Oh, sorry, that was the Snake line. I went for Lucian and Echo. Karma Graves with their first. Maokai Ezreal was their second pick rotation here. So you could possibly see Captain be put back on towards the Graves pickup one more time.
Yeah, very similar feel coming out from both teams. I guess Saint feel like they just lost contact with the game a little bit too early and couldn't execute on what they hoped their game plan was going to be. Counter argument to that is, if you don't change anything, nothing really will change in the game. And there you go, there's a first alteration. Change
coming in already for the Captain side. This was a pick that we saw very famous from Chimin in the jungle for the Saint lineup. Instead, Captain now going to be taking Gragas to the Rift.
So I always get, a little bit wary when people pick their own champions in the LPL. They like to play some mind games. Top lane Gragas hasn't been seen for quite some time, but is still quite strong.
So it could be possible that we see Akon throw that one into the top lane. For now, though, it does seem like it should be a jungle pickup. We'll have to see what Saint round out their team comp with. Does look like they're missing their solo laners or a jungler if they choose to pick that one up. As Snake, they pick their bottom lane up here in their next pick rotation with the Ezreal and Nami being locked in.
Yeah, Nami seeing some resurgence, has some engage and some CC that Soraka maybe doesn't bring to the table, as well as the sustain. But, I honestly like Soraka at this stage, so see whether we see any of her. But Nami, Ezreal, good poke lane, good sustain. It's not going to win lane, it's not going to lose.
Still waiting for Saint to pick their final 2 champions here. Like we mentioned earlier, probably going to be a top laner and a mid lane being picked up here. In fact, see Akon already swapping over towards the teleporting knight. That could mean this Hecarim or potentially a Fizz up into the top lane. The 2 champions see run this time and time again as Hecarim is going to be the lock-in for the top lane for Akon. So another curveball here being thrown by Saint as Victor is a lock-in of choice. And an insta-lock of Fizz to bring the Ignite teleport up into the top lane as well. Coming in from Flandre.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be a jungle Gragas and Hecarim top lane. Aegon is a good Hecarim player. He's a tank Hecarim player, for what it's worth. Doesn't really get Trinity Force until much later in the builds. At least that was what would happen last time around.
Okay.
Flandre All right, so Flandre back when Fizz top lane was very strong would actually go with AP Fizz top, not AD. I don't know whether that has changed and he'll go Bruiser, Iceborne Gauntlet. I'm just, and I definitely don't think it's any stronger, so please don't quote me on it. I'm just saying that in the past, the man has been known to play AP Fizz. He's also been known to play Trinity Force Fizz. So there is a wide array of ways that this top lane could go.
So a couple of curveballs here, Akon on his tank, so to speak, Hecarim. Flandre, maybe with the damage Fizz coming out here on the top lane for the side of Snake. Still have the Rek'Sai in the jungle. We'll have to see if Saints have the opportunity to deal with it, as we are going to go into Summoners Rift for game number 2 of this best of 3 series. And we have loaded on to the Rift for game number 2 between Saints and Snake here. Snake, sorry. A very dominating performance in game number 1. Saint now throwing another curveball with this Hecarim up in the top lane. We have to see how it's going to play out for them as we take a look at the Keystone Masterings. Nothing
further Hecarim as well.
Too crazy, but yeah.
This is going to be great.
Double fervor on both matchups, on both teams. Well, I think we're going to see a lot of fighter up in this top lane between the Fizz and the Hecarim.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Heavy trading out of both of them is what we can expect. Fizz used to win this matchup when it was tank, so when you would take Cinder Hulk Fizz into the top lane versus Cinder Hulk Hecarim.
Mm-hmm. SOFM once again just puts down a word there.
He's a confident man.
He's a very confident man. He seems very confident on this Rek'Sai as well. After game number 1. In fact, this time around, he's going to be starting towards the top side of the map, taking away the Krug. So we're going to probably see standard lanes coming out from these two teams one more time here.
Yep. Doesn't look like a camp maybe going to be started off from Snake's bottom lane. No, they now are now moving towards it. So everyone's just going to start pretty standardly.
Mm-hmm.
Battle lines drawn up. And we'll see whether Acorn can get the helicopter going level 1.
We also can check and see if SLFM continues with the interesting jungle path that we saw in game number 1. Opting to go for the Razor Beak, then both Scuttle Crams, not taking down any major buffs until he's about level 4 even. But we'll have to keep track of that as the game goes on. Like we mentioned earlier, standard lanes are going to be what takes place here in game number 2 between Saints and Snake. This time around, he's opting to take red buff, not going for the interesting path anymore.
Yeah, so we'll see if he 3 buffs to get level 3 and then goes towards the top side of the map for a gank or even mid lane early. Something that we used to see a lot with an early clear. A lot of pressure would be gained.
Mm-hmm. For now, though, very early into this game with standard lanes. Both teams just trading back and forth. I think one place that we can expect action is in this bottom lane and the top lane, even as we see level 2 hit by both sides. Matt Ignite actually being taken down there. They're going to get first blood. Actually goes on over towards Saint.
Acorn's just a smart player. The reason I say that is because he actually drags Flandre into his creep wave. And you see that he only lives on about 100 health. And all that is that he is being hit. And Flandre actually teleported maybe too early. Although now SOFM's up here, has flash, and Acorn doesn't want to leave the wave because it's too big.
Oh, here comes SOFM. He's going to try and charge away.
Oh,
doesn't get the knock up. And Acorn's able to just run away there.
See, last game was just lucky. So it was first mistake coming out of SOFM, will not be able to secure that kill. It is very hard. Alistar versus Hecarim interactions are really annoying as well.
Is this from your game yesterday?
Nah, don't want to talk about it. None of my solo queue experience belongs in the LPL chat. But yeah, I'm just saying that there are some unique interactions between Hecarim and his charges. SOFM one more time coming in.
He's looking for it one more time. Acorn trying to charge away. This time gets the charge onto the
Timing
right side,
waits.
but he does get the knock up here. Should be able to take him down. SOFM takes a lot of damage underneath his turret. Acorn is going to be able to live one more time.
Acorn has a Dark Seal on Hecarim.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you have a response to that? It's an AP item.
I know.
Fish.
Well, he's interesting as SOFM one more time looking for it. Is going to be able to
Might
get... No,
die.
he's going to die here. The turret takes him down. Acorn gets double buff and another kill.
And this is what happens when you're over-aggressive, you know? It's just not working out, but they keep forcing... Sure, Acorn's going to be in a CS deficit now. The lane is frozen there as long as Flandre wants to keep it. But that's 2 kills already over onto the Hecarim, and a great early game. His Ignite's going to be back off cooldown very shortly, and he has a red buff to boot.
He's gone back to base, picked up the Null Magic Mantle and a cloth armor for
And
himself.
here comes Captain.
Captain looking for a gank on towards Tank. He actually just jumps on top of Snoopy, puts and takes him down. The
Misses
flash
the
forward
body slam as well.
is not going to help him out. Captain just runs away with his tail tucked between his legs there.
What a actually great heads-up play out of Tank there. Recognizes the only way out is to go aggressive. Snoopy very late on that exhaust. I mean, all of the damage has already come out of the Exir by that stage. So, nicely done.
As you see in the bottom lane now, that Ignite it's not going to be enough to take down the Nami there. Aggressive all around the map coming in from the Saint lineup.
Yeah, it certainly is. Saint really want to get ahead in this early game. I mean, Flandre, he's up a lot of CS, 28 CS, so he's closer in gold than he probably should be. SOFM going back to his counter-jungling ways on the top side of the map.
He's figured out that ganking, just doesn't quite do it for him. He just wants to keep track of these buffs instead.
Whoa.
That's an aggressive play from Acorn. Takes 2 turret shots through it. I think that's pretty much worth, though, for the Hecarim up top.
Sometimes it's about sending a message.
Well, he's definitely sent one with his Dark Seal pickup.
I don't know what that message means, though.
I thought you did. That's why I was being quiet. So I was just hoping you knew. So I don't.
No idea. As SOFM one more time going over.
He's got the he's got the gank path. They didn't clear out that Rek'Sai tunnel here. Acorn's going to try and run away. In fact, SOFM wants
If Flandre
nothing.
goes in, he's going to die. So that would be a one-on-one fight, which I don't think SOFM wins with all those creeps.
He wanted nothing to do with that gank there. Meanwhile, Riptail is going to spawn as captain now, looking to try and put some pressure down towards SOFM.
And you can see the captain's been a little bit more efficient in his timings. So he's actually up right now, and Acorn's over the top.
He's been ignited here, but Fizz is
got
going to
him.
get ignited as well. There comes the troll pole coming out, trying to take it down. Flandre is able to pick up the kill. He might be able to live here. No minion aggro. It means Flandre is going to stay alive.
Yeah, and that's really surprising, is now Jay-Z's in the top side of the map.
They're looking for whatever they can pick up here as Captain. He's been jumped on by Tank. Good ultimate to knock him over the wall there. Captain's got nowhere to go. Exhausted as well, and Tank's going to be able to pick up a kill.
Yeah, and Acorn just taking that turret shot he didn't need to because Flandre would have actually burned down. What saved Flandre was Dangerous Game. The fact that another member had died means that he gets healed that 5% and doesn't fall to the Ignite. So Acorn, he gets greedy, goes for that extra swing of the scythe and will fall down. And Jay-Z heads up Rome. You complimented him last game for being on the same page as his team. Appears top lane just when they need him. Able to get it done.
And one more time, it looks like saving grace for Saint is once again their bottom lane as STYZ is trying to zone out Martin this time,
He's
though.
not doing it.
Takes a lot of damage. Heal actually coming out from Martin aggressively just to try and get a little bit of extra movement speed. Jay-Z moving out towards his bottom lanes. Acorn, he's actually being ulted here by the Fizz. Still level 5 to the level 6. Going to take a lot of damage. Gets slowed down. Flandre picks up a solo kill up in the top lane. Revenge for the top lane.
And Acorn does not look happy right now. And SOFM still living on the top side of the map. One more time, the fact that Captain cannot keep control of SOFM has just meant that Flandre, in what should have been a horrible matchup after the level 1, is back in control.
There are 2 major mistakes from the Snake jungler, but still he's looking like the more aggressive, the more dominant in jungle despite that. Doesn't have a massive CS lead for himself by keeping up as Tank. He's going to take a full Chaos Storm to the face here. Victor going to be able to charge him down. The flash comes out from the Azir, but that's a really, really fast Victor running at the Azir. The Emperor from Shurima is going to get taken down. Snoopy picks up a solo kill.
So finally a little bit of aggression. Now Flandre looking for Snoopy. Will be spotted out and just have to hop over the wall. This game is devolved, It feels like Saint are almost challenging
Hello.
Saint to their own game.
And so if I'm looking for the flash knockup, does get it onto Snoopy. There's the gravity field, though. Not going to be able to lock him down. Cask actually throws Flandre forward, puts on the the E there, jumps on top of his fault, picks up the kill. Now they're looking towards Captain as well. He's going to try and body slam for a good Q coming out from... Oh, I'm messing up all the words. If Flandre manages to escape, but here comes the Akron. Going to be able to charge him, puts down the ultimate, picks up a kill in return for Saint.
Yeah, shuts down Flandre's Fizz as well. So in the end, it is going to be a trade advantage of Saint still. And as I said, they're throwing the gauntlet right now. Snake, you want to play fast, you want to play this hyper-aggressive game? Sure, we're up for the challenge. And now Shu even looking for aggression onto Martin.
He does get bubbled down here as the ultimate was popped by Martin, trying to get some damage down to STYZ. Lots of damage back down to the Karma. Martin, though, will be able to safely farm up this massive wave that's crashing towards his turret.
So in the end, normalcy returns to Summoner's Rift, but there's as we take stock, 40 CS to 70 in the mid lane. That's not a good news story for Snoopy.
And this is normally a matchup, we see can go either way, but usually even between lots of mid laners. But Snoopy just
I still think
doing
that
good.
Victor has a lot of early pressure on it. I mean, Victor pretty much has kill potential at any stage of the game on most mid laners. It doesn't set up ganks the same way that Azir does. I mean, Azir has that immediate CC with the Emperor's Divide and great consistent late game damage, but Victor should be able to poke him out of this lane quite successfully, but Tank just getting the better end of it.
Well, let's see if Snoopy can do that. But for now, he's, like you mentioned, not getting a good start as more time. SOFM looking, trying to invade against Captain. Captain is not very impressed with what's been taking place in his jungle so far. He's going to try and take away this Gromp. So puts another ward down, looking to try and pick it up for himself. Is able to smite it away. This just feels like deja vu right now.
Yeah, but, when you have a look at it, they're at least in a better position right now, Saint. They're still within about 900 gold. Now Jay-Z's in trouble.
He's going to get locked down here. Shield actually flashes forward, is able to get the snare down. Ultimate is going to come out from the Nami, but Shield picks up the kill with the final auto attack.
Yeah, I don't know whether he should have taken that one there as Jay-Z fell down. I think that should have probably been left over to SDYZ. He was in position to be able to claim it.
Still,
bloodthirsty supports.
Still, it is a kill going on over towards the Saints lineup.
That is true.
And they've been able to stay, they don't have that crazy deficit that they were in the last game anymore. They're just about 500 gold behind the Snake lineup right at the moment.
And Acorn's done a good job to catch up. I mean, it looked like Flandre was going to be 2 levels ahead of him pretty much for the whole game. As there we go.
Chaosstrom gets put down on top of Tank, just uses the Streamer Shuffle and is able to escape the remaining damage coming out from the Storm.
But it's about sending him back, you have to reclaim some of this CS lead. And we'll see whether he's able to get up, start zoning a little bit, making some CS back. It's so hard to do against good Azir players, especially when they have a Rek'Sai sitting in their back pocket.
Up in the top lane, we mentioned, Flandre, he was ahead slightly, Acorn able to catch up. He's going to be able to queue forward there, so looking to try and put some damage down towards Acorn, but Captain is waiting very patiently in this bush for the side of Saint. Acorn looking to try and create a play as SOFM.
They're also sending the support up there as well. Shu is making the long trek to top lane.
Looking to try and roam out a little bit. Here's the fish. Actually gets put down on top of Acorn there. Here comes the Q coming out of Captain. Flashes forward. It's going to hit the ultimate backwards, but Acorn going to take tower damage. The Ignite is ticking. Fizz should go down here. The final tick's going to be enough. Acorn picks up a kill with the help of 2 other members.
Yeah, so really nicely done. One more time out of Saint. They're trying to play that smart style of League of Legends. Bring an extra person top. They won't expect it. Bottom lane's pushing back anyway, so they're not going to be able to deny our Lucian. I like the heads-up call there from Saint. And Snake, for the first time in this series, they're not behind, but they're being challenged.
Not looking like the same Snake we saw in game number 1. A couple of mistakes from SOFM. Big mistakes from Flandre coming out this match so far. I think a couple of things that haven't changed too much, though. It's mid lane. We can still see Snoopy struggling up against Tank here, and bottom lane still going in STYZ's favor. He seems like the favorite, so to speak, in this matchup.
Yeah, it certainly does. STYZ is doing a great job. As we mentioned, he's been left alone quite a couple of times. Still being able to keep up in that farm, doing a really stellar job here against Martin and Jay-Z. So we'll see whether that continues. SOFM has been slowed this game, so that's a good news story. As it was Acorn that actually got the lead. And as you can see, it goes towards that tanky build that we spoke of.
Spirit Message actually coming out of the Hackaroo, so no Triforce very early being picked up. Still Crafting Potion confuses me as Tank actually to come down here with SOFM to try and take down Captain. He's taken down really low. He tries to stop the counter jungle, but Snake, they have SOFM's back.
Yeah, that's actually pretty inexcusable. I mean, Tank just wanders out of mid lane. No call is made. SOFM able to grab the kill there for his mid laner. And, you know, they're moving into the first Drake of the game. That's when it's frustrating as a jungler. You're trying to be impactful. You've even picked up Moby Boots to get around the map. But this guy is still just sitting in your jungle, taking your stuff.
This is another Mountain Drake. If SOFM can secure this one, it's a big pickup of an objective for the Snake lineup. He should be able to take it down and is able to smite that one away. The second dragon to spawn will not be another mountain this time around. Instead, it's going to be an ocean dragon spawning for the Snake lineup.
Yeah, and mountain and oceans are kind of both cool for this lineup as well. Now Tank can't actually get away. We'll see whether he can run him down here, Snoopy.
Well, flashes away, gets out of that Chaos Storm. Ghost was popped by the Victor, though.
Still very worthwhile trade. I mean, he uses a heal and the flash to try and get out. And that's just because he was sticking around in lane a little bit too much. Greedy for that CS. Actually coming back one more time. Should be open to a Gragas gank or something like that.
Well, he was able to take down the blue buff, so he's going to be able to regenerate mana a lot more efficiently in this mid lane. As Flandre up in the top lane, still pushing the wave as much as possible towards Acorn's side of the map. Bottom lane still going very heavily in favor of STYZ. He puts down the culling there. Martin is able to shift out of range and stay healthy.
Yeah, that didn't really hit all of that much. As now SOFM, he's going back to his old trick. It took him a little bit longer. I mean, he's 15 minutes into this game now. But once again, he's disregarding mid lane, running into the Raptor camp. He is back at home.
He's found his friends. He's timing them one more time here, making sure that he's always there when they need him. Taking them down time and time again. There's his second lot of friends. The Krugs, they're going to get smited away. SOFM finds more counter
But
jungling
this time,
himself.
they're actually collapsing on him, forced to ult out.
Gets out of there.
So that's a heads-up play, though. They force him out of the jungle. This is what they couldn't do last time around. So at least Saint are making the concerted effort as a team to boot him out.
They are able to do that, but still Snake looking like the aggressors here. 1,500 gold in the lead at the moment. 6-6 in terms of in terms of kills right now. They're tied up, but a dragon going over to the Snake lineup. Now Tank has to be a little bit careful as here comes Gragas. Captain trying to jump in. Ultimate actually popped by Tank there. Looking to try and take down Snoopy in the back lines. One more time being aggressive as the teleport does come in for both Acorn and Flandre. Flandre picks up a kill onto Captain. Tank now takes a lot of damage from the Acorn. Will get taken down.
Jay-Z actually flashed to try and get the ebb and flow heal, but didn't manage to pick it up. So they will go 1 for 2, but that's the danger of going aggressive as a mid lane before your jungle kicks it off.
STYZ needs to be really careful here, though, because here comes the gang squad from the Snake lineup. Shield going to try and desperately defend his AD carry. Heal being popped by STYZ. Going to get taken down by Flandre. It's now Shield. He tried to save STYZ. Instead, he gets taken down as well.
But that's a kill that SOFM picks up, right? He picks it up with Prey Seeker, and he just threw it in there. He tanked the whole turret, but probably don't want to give it over. I mean, Flandre right now hasn't had the cleanest game, but he's 5-3-1 in a position to be able to set up and carry. So this is a young jungler, you know, maybe taking a little bit too much resources because that was just an unneeded spell to throw out. Still, Snake, they pick up the 2 kills. That's a good news story. That bottom lane, you know, we keep mentioning it. STYZ looks like he wants to dominate it. They're not letting him. But Acorn will get the cross-map objective.
Still means that Snake, they're about 2,000 gold behind Saint at the moment if this top lane turret falls for Acorn, which it should shortly. As SOFM, he's found another Raptor camp for himself, this time his own. Very rare to see him on this side of the jungle. This turret actually not going to go down as Flandre is able to get up there in time. Acorn did not continue with his push, clears out the wave, is able to stop the turret from falling. So Snake retain a 3,000 gold advantage for now.
Yeah, and the reason for that, Rat, is that right now Acorn is in a position of power. He wants to shop as much as possible, make sure he can go toe-to-toe with Flandre. They're both 5-3, 5-2, you know, whatever. Flandre probably a little bit more ahead, just due to some of the neutrals. But realistically, he's like, I need to be at my strongest to always be able to win my lane because it's stopping SOFM from counter-jungling on the top side of the map.
Now, though, things definitely looking in favor of Snake after a very choppy early game, you could say.
We've seen this one too many times. I mean, Captain setting it up around Snoopy in the mid lane. But they can't pull the trigger because SOFM was waiting for the counter gank.
Well, we can take a look at the items really quickly as SFM still continues his invade. They mentioned up in the top lane, very tanky Hacker coming out from Acorn. Bottom lane, though, has to be a little bit careful. They're trying to stop SFM from counter jungling anymore.
Yeah, they actually just had to back away from the turret, right? Because otherwise they get dove from tank and SOFM. Another red buff going to be stolen away, so unfortunately they can't save that one. SOFM all of a sudden is 2 levels higher than Captain, and he just farms at a furious rate. I mean, he puts a whole jungle pretty much on cooldown every single time he wants to go back. And you can see that it's Moby Boots, jungle item, as well as a Ruby Crystal versus pretty much components of a Dead Man Plate, as well as maybe a Spirit Visage, or maybe the Banshee's Veil one more time. And he's just, you know, this time it's the bottom half of the map. He just wants to be on the same side as Krugs and Razorbeaks.
We saw just then Snake were able to take down the bottom lane outer turret against Saint. Captain now trying to put on his best SOFM impression and take down the Razorbeaks on his side of the map.
Now they want to go over the wall. I mean, Jay-Z can throw the wave from there. SOFM can actually just dive because he's incredibly tanky.
For now, though, Tank's just going to be looking to try and push out this wave as much as possible. Captain actually moving on towards the top side of the map, going to try and take away SOFM's Krugs. Snoopy instead just going to be able to collect up this CS. This isn't going to get dived today by SOFM, and Tank will be able to pick up a blue buff for himself. And so far, just taking stock of things, Snake still ahead by about 4,000 gold now, increasing that goal lead even further. The items, you know, have been upgraded on both sides of the map. You can see the Yoma's Ghostblade being picked up by SYZ, looking for his Black Cleaver next. On the flip side, Ezreal already hitting that big power spike. Manamune picked up with the Iceborne Gauntlet. Mid lane, you can see the National Suit being picked up by the Azir here, looking for his next item.
Yeah, it looks like the Abyssal Scepter going to come out, and it will be another Dragon going over to Snake. SOFM looking to pick that one up, and honestly, they've done a really good job here, Snake, of just taking stock, recognizing, you know, Acorn, the more we play like this, is getting a little bit out of hand. Let's slow it down. Let's just secure our objectives, control our minion waves. I mean, Flandre even backs away from top lane turret because he hasn't seen Captain in a very long time. So even though we've seen the very aggressive side of Snake tonight, shows that they still have that strategic edge.
We'll have to see how much further the strategic edge that Snake have can get them ahead here in this game, because they made so many blunders that were punished by Saint, but they just keep coming back and keep clawing themselves back into the game.
Yeah, it's just the aggressive play philosophy, right? You're going to cause the other team to crack eventually, and if you're going even in the trades, that's fine. As you can see, that every lane is even or better right now for the Snake lineup. Even Martin, who you know was struggling early, is back ahead in the CS department, and they're just controlling vision, they're controlling tempo. And ultimately, you know, whether they look for the dive in the mid lane, whether they just start pushing down the tier 2 in the bottom half of the map, it's going to come a time that Saint make the misstep and SOFM is going to pounce.
Well, he is. You can see Martin Bumley does have 10 CS ahead, has the 3 major items of the Manamune, Iceborne Gauntlet, and the Iron Boots of Lucidity. So, Ezreal definitely has a power spike in his up on online. As we take a look at SOFM, continue to clear out wards. Something he likes to do here is, you know, farm up for an extended amount of time, then go back to base, pick up major items. He's doing that one more time. You have to see what he decides to complete this time round. And it's going to go straight for the Banshee's Veil one more time and immediately use his ultimate to get out of that base.
Yeah, comes back out, and you can see that Acorn this time giving a bit of a taste of his own medicine, has taken away the top half of his jungle. As you can see, still reasonably rich. I mean, he's only 500 gold behind the AD carry right now, and is still top level in the game. So he's not having a bad performance. Because Flandre actually might be in some trouble here.
That's an interesting use of the playfield trickster to stop Acorn.
He's got reinforcements coming.
From using the rush coming in. Here comes the Chum the Waters coming in from Acorn. Looking at onto Acorn. So looking to try and take it down. Wave not going to connect onto Hecarim, but he has to run an awkward angle to get away. Martin now going to be able to slow him down. Picks up the shutdown kill. And he puts himself on the scoreboard.
And really nice bait there from Flandre. He acts like he doesn't want to fight, then re-engages. Wave on point from Jay-Z. And it will be the top lane turret now under siege. The ships in the night. Junglers kind of bump into each other and move away.
Well, I'm going to be able to pick up a Grom Cam for himself. What he really wants here is Tank takes a culling to the face in the mid lane. 3 members of the Saint to line up. Now 4 with Captain moving on the back, looking to try and take down this mid lane outer turret. As Ezreal is able to take down the outer turret up in the top lane for Snake.
And this is good, you know, trade objectives. However, Flandre and Tank are looking for the flank. SOFM's in.
He's on top of Shield here, puts a lot of damage down on towards the Karma, actually forces the Karma to flash out of there. Now Captain, he's caught between 3 members of the Snake lineup. SOFM goes over the wall, stops the body slam, gets another knockup. Acorn's going to come in with a teleport. Flandre takes a lot of damage. Tank picks up the first kill. SOFM running for the hills, low and healthy. The rest of the Snake lineup has been split up. Look at Acorn, tries to go around the back there, trying to cut off SOFM's tunnel. He actually goes the right way and avoids that. But a 1-for-1 trade.
SOFM's doing blue buff. That was an interesting call. Now he's going to swap to doing red buff because he decided blue buff was too risky. So I'll counter jungle the other side of the map. And you can see that STYZ kind of wants to interrupt here.
He might be able to do it. SOFM does have his smite. Not going to be able to use it here, but STYZ does get locked down by the bubble coming in from Nami. What? You know, normally after a team fight and you have 100 health left, you go home, SOFM. He's going to continue farming as we take a look at the damage coming up from the last team fight. Saint actually dishing out a lot of damage there.
Yeah, you can see that they were able to get it done that time around. Acorn arrives just in the nick of the time to secure the kill, but the Korean Ezreal build is online. Black Cleaver as well as Yomus has been picked up, so he's liking the position he's in right now, STYZ.
Lucian with the Berserker Greaves as well. Hasn't been buffed up. That'll be in the next patch where he gets a little bit more attack speed. But still going to help him out, dish out more auto attacks as he weaves in between spells. Blue buff going to be donated over towards Snoopy here. Captain finally trying to take back some control of his jungle.
And they've done a better job of it. I mean, he's down 30 CS, he's 0-4. He's still not having a great game. But right now, they're still within touching distance. 6,000 gold, 24 minutes. I mean, this time last game, they'd already lost a Dragon. They were about 13,000 gold in the...
They lost a Baron this time
last game. Sorry, that's what I meant.
It might be the same thing here as SOFM looking to try and take it down one more time. Puts down a tunnel, allows the teleport coming in for Flandre. Captain, he's here this time,
3 members bottom still. Like, I just don't understand how they allow this to happen.
Well, we're going to see a flash coming up from JC to run away. Puts down the tidal wave as well. Flandre already into the back lines. Puts down Chum the Water's going to miss Snoopy. Actually forces him to flash away. SOFM tunnels aggressively, but not going to be able to find anything. They still get the Baron for themselves.
But Acorn tries to match Flandre. That's fine. STYZ, Shu, what are you doing bottom lane? It's 24 minutes into the game, and you already know that this Snake lineup wants to take the early Baron. Just as we're complimenting Saint for staying within touching distance, they kind of let this game get back out of hand. And, you know, now with the Baron buff, going to look to pressure the tier 2 turrets.
And 25 seconds till the third Dragon of the game spawns as well. They could possibly go for it. Snoopy now might actually get catch out. Instead, Seal, he gets caught as we see SFM roam towards the mid lane. Tank picks up that kill. Another aggressive tunnel. No, it's not. It's just going for Raptor camps.
Depends what you call aggression, right? Those Raptors, they think that's very aggressive and unnecessary.
I honestly thought that he was going to go wrap around and try and find Snoopy. No, he just wants his Raptor camps. I should have known better, Spawn.
You should have known better. Instead, you know, they're just going to start pressuring up lanes. Tank, ult's going to miss. Captain's really having a shocking series.
Not performing too well at all here as the third Dragon. Another Ocean Dragon is going to spawn, and SOFM looking to try and take this one down for his team. They already got the pick onto Shield earlier, now looking for another objective for themselves, putting them even further ahead. They're already 8,000 gold up here. Yeah,
they're honestly just dominating one more time, you know. You can see there's going to be another Ocean Drake, so that regen not going anywhere. Just going to be able to continue to pressure. Martin.
That's aggressive. Martin looking to try and take down STYZ. Pokes him down pretty low here. True Shot Barrage is available.
No, is it? Doesn't look like it.
It is. Use it. No.
No, it's available now.
Now has that ultimate up and running, but can't use it to try and take down STYZ, who already poked out of the bottom lane. Instead, mid lane inner turret and bottom lane inner turret are going to be taken down for Snake. And immediately, Flandre going aggressive there, going to get locked down by the change coming out from Shield. Snoopy gets chummed to waters to the face, going to get locked down by SOFM as well. Tidal Wave comes out. Snoopy going to get flashed on by SOFM. Meanwhile, Flandre putting some work on the Shield, who somehow is going to get taken down by damage over time. Now it's going to be STYZ trying to be the saving grace for his team. SOFM going to get charged on by the Akram, ignited as well, trying to loop with a sliver of health, but Flandre, he's jumping on top of Acorn here. Martin picks up that kill for himself, and Snake get a 4-for-0 trade inside of the base of the Saint lineup. They're looking to try and end this game.
Yeah, they're certainly going to be able to, and one more time, Snake turn on the aggression as a 5-man unit and get it done. Saint, we know that you're trying to improve, but it's not going to be tonight.
Zesty-wise, he just takes a lot of damage. Flash forward from Narton, finds another kill for himself. Stu, you don't really want to be there, my friend, as Snake, one more time, less than an hour into this series, are able to take down Saint in another clinical game from the lineup.
Yeah, it certainly is, and this time around, you know, it's a much more well-rounded team effort. Tank having a great showing in the mid lane on that Azir, able to put Snoopy in an early hole. Flandre, great teleports. This team is slowly starting to come back together and play Snake Esports style League of Legends. And it's a catalyst, that man in the jungle that has sped this whole process up. Since they got rid of ZZR, you know, put SOFM in as a starter, Snake just looked much more comfortable.
And you know, he had a couple of big mistakes, you could say, SOFM in game number 2 against Saints.
Shockers.
Missed the knock-up against the Hecarim, allowing him to escape, went back to try and get the return kill and died to the turret there, and still was able to put on a very clinical performance, you could say.
I'm not going to go with clinical this time. I'm going to say he brute forced it, honestly. Like,
okay.
He went top, he missed. He went top again, he died. What does he do? He goes top one more time. All of a sudden, you know, he gets kicked out of the jungle. He goes back to the jungle, loses a team fight. I'm going to take blue. All right, no, I can't do that. I'm going to take red. This guy is literally, like, at every stage, he just wants to make an aggressive play. And a great team is going to punish that. But a good team like Saint, they try and punish it once. Sure, it goes the wrong way, but SOFM doesn't really care. He's just going to... You can't change the way he is. It's in his nature, right? So I think that it was a good, aggressive showing that even if he doesn't get that huge gold lead like he had in Game 1, he's going to play the same style of League of Legends and still try and dominate you. And when Snake, as a unit, folded behind him and played the same style of League of Legends, they just took over the whole game.
And I felt like you mentioned you hit the... I can't
hit
do
the nail on the head?
Yep, I did it. Got it somehow.
Got ya.
Spawn did it for me. Apparently, it's this chair where all the English problems happen. But, you know, it really felt like Snake had a much better team game, like you mentioned there. You know, like you said as well, SOFM, you know, just try to keep battering ram through the Saint lineup. Wasn't working, but the rest of the Snake lineup looks really good. They all the way down to bottom lane.
So what I'm going to say this game is, like, this was much more of, like, you know, they got to the power spikes at the same time as SOFM, so they were a little bit more on the same page. Because, like, Game 1, SOFM's huge. He's like, just follow me, I can do everything. And they're like, all right, cool, this is kind of weird, but, you know, it's fun. Whereas next game, you know, you see the Ezreal get towards his power spike. You see the Fizz, 5 kills, rapidly accelerated in that game, was able to take over. So I think that this was Snake playing within themselves very well. And they were an aggressive team. Like, when they knew they could win team fights, they would team fight all the time. And we're just seeing that, you know, walls are no obstacle to a Fizz, no obstacle to an Ezreal. They're willing to go over and they're willing to continue these fights.
One thing that didn't change, though, you know, despite the interesting performance coming in from these two teams, is there were no Raptor camps left on that map anymore. It's still taken away time and time again. And SOFM still invading into the jungle, still taking away jungle camps. Captain tried to match that, but it just didn't seem like it was enough still.
The whole team actually tried to match it. You know, you had the moment where Captain was topside on Krugs for SOFMs, and actually it was a Joy lane in the mid lane that collapsed and, you know, kicked him out. SOFM had to ulti out of the jungle. They tried to kick him off the blue side of the map a couple of times as well. So it was a much better team effort from Saint of trying to keep track of where the Rek'Sai was. The problem was is that they were just bleeding objectives around it.
And speaking of keeping track of the Rek'Sai, one thing we mentioned at the start of the game, or specifically you mentioned at the start of the game, is they needed to pick more aggressive, more dominant lanes. They kind of did. We saw Acorn do well top. Mid lane should be in favor of Victor. Wasn't that case against Tank. Bottom lane definitely was at the start of the game. But what was missing for the Saint lineup?
I honestly think that that's just like, that's one of the reasons that Gragas has fallen out of competitive play, because if you don't protect him, if you don't get him to the team fighting stage, he is a weaker champion. I mean, he has one combo that will chunk you for about 50% of your health, but Rek'Sai has that continued damage, right? So I just think that that was something that SOFM was willing to ignore. And it was just a team cohesion issue that Snake looked more well-rounded.
Well, let's take a look at the MVP. It's going to go over towards Flander. You know, a little bit of a blunder at the start of the game, but still finished it strong with 32% of his team's damage share. 6, 4, and 7 on his Fizz. Very aggressive in that match.
He was just always fighting. That's why his damage share is so high. I mean, he was in the bottom lane, mid lane. He was fighting Acorn all the time in the top lane. He said it right. Huge blunder. I mean, he died at 3 minutes into the game, I think.
Level 1.
Yeah, level 1, just wasn't able to get it done. But, you know, he was able to outplay Acorn a couple of times. This is one of them where Acorn just shouldn't have gone for the swing of the side because he came back within auto attack range. Set up lots of nice plays in the top lane. And honestly, when Flandre's playing aggressive top laners like his Fizz, he looks much changed.
And we saw what happened last season when we saw Flandre, you know, pick up Fiora, pick up more of those split push oriented top lanes where Snake was famous for their lane swap style play. looking a lot better. And they had a very poor performance, you could say, starting off the split in the LPL. And, they did play Newbie and now they've played Saints here, but definitely looking a lot better now they have SFM in the jungle. That's interesting to say because ZZR, he wasn't all that bad. He was a great jungler for the Snake lineup.
I think ZZR is a good jungler. It just wasn't what they needed, right? They need someone that can control the other enemy jungle, keep tabs on them. SOFM's vision game is also quite high. I mean, he's going Sightstone on Rek'Sai and scoping out the enemy team and setting Snake up for proactive plays. And I think that ZZR wasn't a bad jungler, but it just seems like stylistically SOFM is a much better fit for Flandre and for Tank. Like, he's playing the top half of the map. Both games, he went absolutely nowhere near the bottom half of the map until a couple of later turret dives.
And on the flip side of the map, what are we going to see coming from Saint here? Because we didn't see Chimin play. We didn't see Otto play either. And frankly, didn't feel like the jungler or the mid lane had a very good game coming to this one, especially we mentioned halfway through that series. Captain didn't look all that right on his Gragas.
No, he didn't. He looked all out of sorts. And, the thing that I want to go towards is, I think Chimin is a strict upgrade over Captain. I think that when you have a look at the mid laners, I don't rate Otto as highly as other people do. I know Frostgreen is very excited about him. Young solo QE prospect. He was supposed to be the new Zatai when Zatai was still a mid laner. He has some attitude problems from what I've heard. He hasn't really meshed well with the team. So, that's a coin flip for me. Snoopy's not playing great. I don't know if Otto's going to be better. When I watch Captain play, Chimin was much better when he was playing on HYG, and I hope to see him back in the lineup soon. But it must be a synergy issue because they would not have picked these 5 members. You have to trust the team, right? So Saint, they're sticking with it. I hope that it does improve. But sooner or later, you have to pull the pin because Chimin looked good.
And our initial questions were, is Captain going to bring a different jungle pool and is he going to be playing differently? They play almost similar, Chimin and Captain. They play very similar champions. So that was a Gragas game coming out, which is Chimin's one of his signature champions back when he played on HYG too.
So Captain is I'd say he's more calculated. Like, Chimin just throws the dice at ganks. Like, he was a very gank-heavy jungler when he went for the Gragas play. So I think that, yeah, sure, their champion pool looks similar, but Chimin just looks a little bit more polished from my point of view. But you know what? As I said, Saint, you have to trust them. They're going with Captain, they're going with Snoopy. They must know that it works for some reason, and whether it's transitioning to the Summoner's Rift this week or next week or 3 weeks' time, Saint are going to stick with it, and hopefully it does eventually bear positive fruits to their labor.
So we broke this down quite heavily here, especially towards both sides of the map. One thing we didn't look at quite intensely was the bottom lane here. Once again, STYZ doing really well, starting off the game. Just not well enough. Not SOFM well for the Saint lineup.
I'm going to steal Frostgurren's line. Bottom lane just does not matter right now. Okay. So it really is to the point where bottom lane, if tanks are at par, they just do more until the incredibly late game. If you get to 6 items, 80 carries are still fantastic. 5 items, they're still good. That's why you have mid-game spiking 80 carries that add something else. Like the Blue Ezreal build gives you a lot of control, has a good 2-item spike. Korean Lucian, same thing. 2-item spike, very, very good. He'll do a lot of damage. But you can't transition that around the map as easily. I mean, they don't take teleport. They get stuck mid-lane wave clearing a lot of the time. And there's just not all that much room for 80 carries to really participate. Meanwhile, you have these huge tanky or damage-dealing junglers and top laners that are just diving turrets, running 3 members deep. And as an 80 carry, you're just trying to not die. That is pretty much your exclusive thing. Unless people start jumping on things like Ashe, things like Sivir that are really going to help them out in rotational play, I just don't think that it's going to have that much of an impact. And that's why STYZ getting ahead by 30 CS, in the end it meant nothing because he was still just going to die to the Rek'Sai.
Especially with the likes of Lucian getting nerfed, 6.11 coming around means that we should be seeing more of those utility 80 carries coming out, which could shake up the meta a little bit more. We've already seen range supports return to the bottom lane, which was already a melee heavy support dominant LPL.
It's because LPL used to love killing bottom lane. I mean, supports are the lowest levels most of the time. As we have a look at the highlights from last game, this is Flandre picking up the kill over Acorn. They would run Alistar and stuff and just absolutely try and crush them, but at the end of the day, that's fallen out of vogue, and there are still ways to do good things.
I mean, even Nami being picked up this game by Jetso, who is very known to be one of those very tank-heavy supports, picking up Braum and Alistar whenever he can. Things are definitely changing in the LPL here.
Yeah, they certainly are. And, it's good to see that the LPL is adapting to the global meta. They did a very good job at MSI of even shaping it in some points. Maybe Marta went a little bit deep with the Leona pickup, but he felt like he needed engage. And I think that this is, very, very positive to see how well the LPL has started in Split 2.
So, we just started Split 2, but we're getting deeper and deeper into the season now. What can we expect from these two teams? Because Snake, Disappointing start. Saint had a disappointing start too, but, you know, Snake looking a little bit better now.
Yeah, Saint has started to turn it around. And, I mean, when you have a look at their group, of course, they're going to have EDG in their IG. These are teams that do look like they're currently rolling. But there's no reason that Game Talents and Sneak can't be the two teams that roll it, round it out, which is scary if you're Newbie, right? Newbie was supposed to be the second best team in this group. Right now, not doing a great job. So, you know, sky's the limit, especially if they continue to play with this superstar young jungler that is just dominating people. He was bodying people today.
He certainly was. He did it yesterday as well when he played his carry junglers. Now picking up that Rek'Sai 2 games in a row. Almost looked exactly the same as when he played those carry junglers. I think he thinks that Prey Seeker is actually secretly Nidalee Spear. I'm not too sure because it kind of looks like
Well,
it.
he was sniping people with it. And as I said, he does take a lot of resources. So there are still parts to SOFM's game where he almost looks solo queue-esque, right? He's like taking a lot of resources for himself. He's happy to take the kills. I mean, and he translated it well. But in some games, it's going to be more important that your AD carry has that or your top lane is able to then take it back top and, you know, translate it somewhere else in the map. So I still don't think his game is perfect, but that was a very impressive performance out of SOFM.
And it certainly was. Not only SFM, but also the Snake lineup.